Sanguinius, it should have been him. He has the vision and strength to carry us to victory, and the wisdom to rule once victory is won. For all his aloof coolness, he alone has the Emperor's soul in his blood. Otherwise known as the Great Angel or the Brightest One, Sanguinius was one of the fiercest warriors and greatest minds the Imperium ever had. He is also my favorite Primarch, and today I want to go over some of his history and why I think his story captures the setting of 40k so well. Like his Primarch brothers, Sanguinius was stolen by the Ruinous Powers shortly after his creation by the Emperor, his gestation pod landing on Bal Secundus, a highly irradiated moon that was infested by mutants with only a few human settlements. One such tribe of local Balites, known as the Folk of the Pureblood, stumbled upon his gestation pod where they were shocked to find an infant with 2 vestigial wings growing from his back. This potential taint of mutation not only alarmed the locals, but would also prove to be both a benefit and source of insecurity for Sanguinius during his life. Upon this discovery, the tribe actually considered killing him as an abomination, but the fact he was in all other ways completely normal and a harmless infant, they allowed him to live. This proved to be an incredibly prosperous decision for the people of Bal, as Sanguinius quickly grew to maturity within a year and became their greatest warrior. Thanks to his Primarch physiology and ability to fly, he was able to easily traverse the heavily irradiated environment of the moon, finally giving the human tribes of Bal the strength to push back the mutant swarms and establish stability. Even though many took note of Sanguinius's monumentally savage bloodlust he would often showcase during the heat of battle. By the time the God Emperor discovered Sanguinius on Bal, he was already worshipped by many as a god and known for his rousing speeches to its people. It was during one such speech that the Emperor first met his lost son, and after listening to the Great Angel inspire tens of thousands soaring above them in Bal's great amphitheater, the Emperor had no doubt he was one of his missing Primarchs. When Sanguinius actually encountered the God Emperor, he recognized him immediately because Sanguinius had inherited the capacity for foresight from his father. Like all other Primarchs, he was tasked by the Emperor with joining the Great Crusade, and his most loyal Balite followers were given his gene seed to join the rest of the 9th Astartes Legion, known as the Blood Angels. And we have to remember that at the time of Sanguinius taking control of his legion, the Blood Angels were mostly known as bloodthirsty reavers who drank the blood of their enemies. This bloodlust was referred to as the Red Thirst. It was a baked-in flaw in the gene seed of Sanguinius, and in some ways it is a reflection of his own blood fury. Sanguinius recognized the savagery of his legion, and while he had to remove many members who were lost to the thirst, he also brought them ways of living besides killing. Under his leadership, the Blood Angels studied literature, music, and art. He taught them the restraint and discipline he himself practiced. But most importantly, he changed them not just by force, but by earning their trust and respect. These reformed Blood Angels, led by their Primarch, fought side by side with the Emperor, earning themselves a reputation for being ferociously effective shock troops. As the Great Crusade continued and the Emperor found more of his lost sons, Sanguinius came to meet his brothers and was lauded for being exceptionally noble even among the other Primarchs. Highly valued for his strength in battle and temperament, he was even referred to as the Emperor's perfect son, forming a particularly close relationship with Horus Lupercal, who would later be named War Master of the Imperium, even going as far as to confide in him about the genetic defect of the Red Thirst within his gene seed after Horus accidentally discovered him mercy-killing one of his own Astartes. One who was overcome with the bloodlust of the Red Thirst and had been killing and feeding on his own battle brothers. Sanguinius, horrified that news of this defect would reach the Emperor, begged Horus to keep quiet about the affliction in fear that his entire legion would be slaughtered. Horus, understanding his brother's fears, swore to never tell a word of this to their father. Being hailed as the perfect son of the Emperor, despite having one of the most defective gene seeds, really is at the core of Sanguinius' character and his struggles with both his legion and himself. Despite all the praise and his seemingly flawless spirit, Sanguinius often feared both he and his legion would be expunged from the Imperium. Even having the gift of flight was a source of insecurity for the Primarch, as he was never quite sure if his wings were an intended design of the Emperor or a tainted mutation of the warp. This insecurity defined much of Sanguinius' life and pushed him to prove himself as the very best humanity had to offer. In my opinion, Sanguinius is best described as perfectly imperfect. His fear of his potential taint and efforts to rise above it are what let him achieve his full potential and empathize with not only his own legion, but also empathize with humanity as a whole. He truly embodied the very best of the Primarchs and humanity, even when his brother Horus betrayed the Imperium and sent the Blood Angels to the demon planet Cygnus Prime under false pretenses in an attempt to kill or corrupt the Legion. Sanguinius never truly wavered to corruption, destroyed the demonic forces, and though the cost was heavy, Sanguinius and his legion survived. But the true test of Sanguinius came at the end of the Horus heresy during the Siege of Terra. Prior to this monumental battle, Sanguinius knew, thanks to his gift of prescience, that his death would be at the hands of Horus. Despite this grave knowledge, he took his entire legion to defend Terra without hesitation at the first opportunity. At this point, Horus had gathered most of his forces to assault the Imperial Palace and kill his father. The Blood Angels, being one of the only legions fully available in the Sol system at the time of the siege, were tasked with defending the Eternity Gate. Led by their Primarch in what can only be described as Sanguinius locking the fuck in, they defended the Eternity Gate against the traitor legions and demonic hordes. A lot of people say Sanguinius felt no fear in this battle since he knew his death was coming, but the state of mind for Sanguinius is best summed up in this quote from his final speech at the Eternity Gate. That prophesied death is coming. Today, tonight, tomorrow. I know not the when or the how, only that I feel fate's breath on the back of my neck. I do not remain here out of immortality's courage. I remain here because if I am to die, I choose this death. I choose to die with my back to the last door. I choose to give my life to buy another hour or a minute, or even a single second of grace to those who cannot be here fighting with me. I choose to die here because I do not believe I have yet given all I can. To be frank, Sanguinius was simply Timothy. During the siege, he faced against one of the greatest demons of Khorne, two titans of the heretic legions, and even his fallen Primarch brother Angron. Horribly wounded by his battle with the latter, he still made his way to Horus's warship to fight his once closest friend, failing to defeat the Primarch turned champion of chaos and tragically suffering a death so horrific it echoed as a psychic imprint in his legion for the next 10,000 years, but not before inflicting damage upon Horus's armor that ultimately allowed the Emperor of Mankind to defeat him. Sanguinius' sacrifice is one of the most pivotal moments in the Warhammer universe, and really to me, he is the greatest champion of the Imperium and really encapsulates the essence of 40k stories. Fighting against corruption and self-doubt while facing against hopeless odds in an epic final stand. It is no wonder that Sanguinius is so loved within the universe and in the fandom. And the best part about him being dead is that Games Workshop will have a harder time fitting him into stories that could ruin his character. His death not only had a lasting impact on the overall galaxy, but also on the remaining members of his legion, which despite his absence remained one of the most humble and disciplined chapters in the 41st millennium, still repeating the psalms written by Sanguinius himself to this day. The psychic imprint of his death still echoes in them as well, with what is now known as the Black Rage, where an infected blood angel is overcome by the memories and fury of Sanguinius in his final moments against Horus. The ferocity with which these debilitated marines fight is a testament to just how much Sanguinius despised Horus at the very end. The fact one of the most noble and disciplined Primarchs was potentially tainted is not only a cool idea, I think it says a lot about the state of the Imperium's double standards and needless prejudice in the 41st millennia. Just remember, if you're purging every mutant, then you are potentially purging the next Sanguinius, and that's a massive loss for everyone. Those are some of my thoughts on Sanguinius and why he's such a cool character. I would like to dig even more into his backstory at some point, so if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.